All right, check out this section on Runner's website. Now, Runner seems to be an agentic platform, so it competes with the likes of ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, like those. It's an alternative to those types of tools. But what this essentially is it's a very more in-depth, definitely shorter, but a lot more, in my opinion, practical comparison table on their website. And so the title is very clear. What makes Runner different? Right? So most AI apps give you generic advice. Runner lives in your tools and takes real action. So they're clearly trying to differentiate from other AI apps like ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, Zapier. And so what they're doing in this, call it a table, but really it's looking at, on the left, you could see when you ask, so they're taking real scenarios of when people ask these tools questions, what the tool, the other AI like agentic tools do versus what Runner does. And so we'll take an example here where it says, when you ask, show me every open loop across work and life. It shows a ChatGPT answer of to track open loops, create a list of tasks, review your inboxes and calendars, then prioritize each item by urgency and owner, right? That's apparently not a very good answer to that type of question. Whereas in Runner, they're showing what it does here is that Runner is going down and it's like looking in your Gmail, looking in your calendar, it's looking in your iMessage, and it's like finding texts with quick asks, family logistics. So it's going through all of your tools. They're saying like Runner lives in your tools. And then it says your command center is up to date, 14 open loops across 3 inboxes, 3 calendars, chat, files, and Slack, right? So they're showing it's like visual in a sense too, where you can see what Runner does versus what ChatGPT does. And even just the sheer amount of work that Runner does versus ChatGPT in that case. They do another example with Copilot. I'm trying to find a place to do my next company offsite. They do one with Claude, with Zapier, with a Slack agent, and with a WhatsApp agent. And so what I like about this is it's not really it's not a feature comparison table. What it is their approach to answering a question table in a way. So, they take real scenarios that people would have, which in one way is also showing what types of, they're essentially use cases for Runner, but they're showing how other AI tools handle those use cases versus Runner, which is a comparison and very helpful if you're trying to evaluate Runner versus like continuing to use ChatGPT for this type of use case. So yeah, for that reason, I think it's a great comparison. And I think it goes beyond just a feature checklist in a really good way. And that's why I think it's a great example, something for everyone to think about when you are trying to do a comparison on your website about how you stack up against other products and doing it for very specific use cases and showing people how you handle it versus they would. All right, cheers.